So if you remember from one of my previous videos, I showed you how to change the energy saver mode by going into the user functions, then going into the admin tab. Again, it asks you for a password. The default password is going to be 123456. Then what we're going to do is go to the general icon and then the energy saver icon. You can see we have three different options. We have the weekly timer, and that'll allow us to turn on and shut off the machine at different times each day of the week. You can see right here, if we hit change, we can choose which day and what time it turns on and turns off. But what I'm really after in this particular video is these two buttons here. The auto power save, I like to set it 60 minutes. That just means that if the machine has not gotten a print job or a copy job or anything, nobody's used it in 60 minutes, it's going to go into an energy saver mode, which is just going to reduce the power. So obviously that's good, and we want to keep it at 60, but you can set it to whatever amount of minutes you want. And then the other thing is the sleep and super sleep. I like to set mine at 120 minutes for the sleep timer, which again means if nobody's used the copier in 120 minutes, it's going to go into a low power state. Now, you can set it to whatever you want, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever is beneficial for you and your company. Most of my clients like 120 minutes, and I haven't had any complaints about that, so that's where I set mine. Now, the super sleep option, you have enable and disable. If you've watched my other videos, I told you that I have had a couple clients tell me in the past that when they have this super sleep enabled, occasionally, not every time, but the machine just doesn't wake up from that. So I always disable it. And ever since I started doing that, I haven't had any issues with the machines not waking up. So that's what I like to set it at. But then there's another issue. Sometimes, and I've come across this maybe a handful of times over multiple different machines, but occasionally when we go in, let me go back. So when we go into general and we go into energy saver, occasionally those two options, that auto power save that we just looked at and the sleep and super sleep that we just looked at, these buttons are just completely missing. And I don't know why that is. I've tried to format the hard drive, reinstall the software, but for some reason they just don't show up. And maybe there's a code that I'm missing or something that I'm missing on the service manual that that will allow those buttons to come back, but I just haven't found it yet. So now I'm going to show you how to change those settings if those buttons aren't there for you to actually press. And in order to do that, we need to go completely out. We can hit the FC button to go back to the main page. We're going to shut down the machine and we're going to go into the 08 service mode. So I'm going to shut it down by pressing and holding the on off. Wait for it to say shut off or shut down in progress. All right, to get started, what you want to do is make sure the machine is completely shut down. You can even go as far as to flip the breaker switch on the right-hand side of the machine. Make sure all your lights are off. We're going to wait a few seconds. We're going to start it up by pressing 0 and 8, holding them down while flipping the breaker switch on. We're going to continue to hold those buttons until these buttons light up. Once they light up, you can release. This takes just a few seconds to start up and bring us to the password screen. All right, so here we have it. We are at the authentication screen. Again, if you have a service password programmed in your machine, you're going to have to enter it here. My machine does not have a service password program, so I can just hit OK. So what we want to do is type, for energy saver, we're going to type 9111, and that's going to allow us to tell the machine how long we want it to wait before going into energy saver mode. Then what we want to do is type 9112, and that's going to give us the ability to change the sleep mode. So say I want the machine to go into energy saver mode after 60 minutes, which is the setting that I like, and then I want it to go to sleep after 120 minutes. Because if nobody's used it after 2 hours, then hey, let's shut it down a little bit further. Let's save some of that energy costs. Once again, I'm going to type 9111, hit enter. Right now it's set to 15, which the 15 setting is for 60 minutes. And I'm going to put up a whole list of settings here on the screen here in a second. But 15 is the number that I selected because that will set it at 60 minutes for the energy saver mode. I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to go again into 9112. This is the sleep mode. And again, you can see that the setting is set at 15 because that corresponds to 120 minutes, which again is what I like to set my machines at. I'm going to put up another screen for the sleep mode and all the options that you have there as well. So check that out if you want something different than 120 minutes. So that is it. So I'm going to shut off the machine by pressing and holding the on-off button until it says shut down. I'm going to let it shut down. I'm going to bring it back up, and those energy saving and sleep